Just between you and me, there's a line, there's no tricks, ooh, there's a love.
Welcome to Just John and April, a relationship podcast, your place to level up your intimacy and, in this episode, your relationship.
Yes.
Because we're talking about a little different kind of relationship today.
Yes, we are.
What's up, y'all?
Everybody?
How y'all doing?
So glad to be here with Lance J.
Yep, as always.
Yes. And we're excited about our guest today.
Yes, we are. We have a guest today. Today's episode is slightly different simply because we usually talk about relationships to people. And today we're going to be talking about our relationship to food.
Yes, we love food. We are foodies.
Yes.
You all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And we are very excited because we are talking to someone who is all about Black women going vegan.
Yeah.
And I'm a Black woman. I've been vegan for a while now.
Yes.
And, well, I'm going to say veganish because
Right.
I do,
Everybody that
during the
knows
holidays,
us knows you're veganish. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna ask our guest today whether or not that's okay. You know
Yes,
what I'm
we
saying?
need to ask her that, and so I can know exactly what I need to be doing. But today, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. Today,
Yes.
we are going to be talking to Tracy McQuirter,
Mm-hmm.
and she is a vegan change agent, award-winning public health nutritionist, speaker, and best-selling author of By Any Means Necessary, By Any Greens Necessary.
There you go.
Look at me reading it the way. By any, which I love that title.
That's
That's so
dope.
creative. By Any Greens Necessary, the first vegan diet book for Black women, and Ageless Vegan. She is also the co-creator of the free African American Vegan Starter Guide with nearly 500,000 copies ordered. Tracy has been helping people go vegan for more than 30 years. The New York Times cited her work as a key factor driving the rise in veganism among African Americans, who are the fastest growing vegan demographic. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Very interesting. In 2020, Tracy created the 10,000 Black Vegan Women program with more than 15,000 women signing up to go vegan together for 21 days, resulting in extraordinary health benefits. That is amazing, and we're so glad to have Tracy
We are
with
happy to have you,
us.
Tracy. Thank you, Tracy, for joining us today.
Yes.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here and to share with us this inspiring topic. Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, Justin, April. It's great to be here with you.
Yes, so we're glad to have you on Just John and April today.
Yes.
So here's my question to you. First of all, have you always been vegan? How long have you been vegan, and what prompted you to embrace a vegan lifestyle?
John, I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
I said your name wrong, but thank you for the correction. John and April, it's great to be with you. What prompted me to go vegan is, first, my mother, we were raised as omnivores, but my mother was very health conscious, so we didn't have junk, junk food in the house. We didn't have sodas in the house. So, she planted the early seeds, and I hated it. I actually hated vegetables and anything healthy.
Are you
So-
serious?
Wow.
Yeah, hate it. So parents out there, know that there's hope if your kids are that way now. But when I was a sophomore at Amherst College, Dick Gregory, our Black Student Union brought Dick Gregory to talk about the state of Black America, and he instead talked about the plight of Black America and how unhealthfully most folks eat and why we should become vegetarian. And he had become vegetarian in 1965 because he extended the philosophy of nonviolence and the civil rights movement to animals. He was a right-hand person to King. And then 2 years, 2 years later in 67, he became a vegan for health reasons. And so by the time he came to my campus in 1986, he'd been vegetarian for 20 years, had this big Bahamian diet drink. And
I remember the drink.
Yeah.
This mini empire going, and we had no idea. So his talk really rocked my world. And the year before that, in my first year in college, I had gained 25 pounds because I was away from home and eating whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
But what his lecture did for me was to connect the dots between not just food and health, but food and social justice.
Wow.
And all of these, all of these ways that food impacts not only our personal lives, but politics and other things as well.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting. Very
So
interesting.
that's really interwoven there, and sounds like kind of a big deal. So I can see now where you get this kind of advocacy for Black women thing and why it connects. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen for Black women when it comes to health and their health care? And is that what got your 10 million Black vegan women movement started?
Absolutely. So it initially started because when my sister and I and my mom, we all went vegan together back in the 80s, we didn't know about this. And there were no books that were written, vegan books, vegetarian books that were written specifically for Black women. And so when I wrote By Any Means Necessary in 2010, I had been vegan for quite a while. And I wanted to write the book that I wish had been available for me in the 80s.
Wow.
And, Toni Morrison said, write the book you want to read. And I'm a writer at heart. So I wrote that book because everything was targeting white women. And I wanted to make the connections that Dick Gregory made. And so for me, it all starts in the mind. I say, liberate your mind and your mouth will follow. And so what I have found teaching women of, all economic backgrounds for these past 3 decades is that no matter what, women don't have the information. We are not taught why this food is the healthiest food to eat. And we're not taught why we're not taught it, like what the food industry is about, and, these connections. And so once I share the connections, Bell Hooks calls it white supremacist capitalist patriarchy, right? Well, that affects health, that affects housing, that affects employment, that affects education. It also affects health. So there is a whole reason. There are many, many reasons why we eat the way that we eat, and personal choice is just a small part of that. It's by design that we are not told about what's healthiest to eat because it's profitable for us to be sick. So when I connect these dots and I share this information, women of all kinds of backgrounds, economic, educational, geographic, they get it. And they immediately want to do something for themselves and their families. So it's basically just not having the same information.
Yes. So you have been able to educate Black women who have not been able to be exposed to that.
Absolutely. That's where it all starts. And so I started, 10,000 Black vegan women last year because I was celebrating the 10th anniversary of By Any Means Necessary last year. And I wanted to do something more to help more Black women, like in a concerted effort. And so I came up with this idea to have 10,000 women go vegan together in 21 days. And that was in February of 2020. And then in March, COVID happened. So we pushed it back to October thinking, it'll all be over by then.
Wow.
But it gave us time to get the word out even more. And because of COVID and the fact that African Americans were the most exposed because we had pre-existing health conditions, but also because Black women in particular were considered essential workers. We were the service workers. So we had all this exposure for a variety of reasons. And so it became urgent, I think, for women around the country to want to get healthy, to boost their immune system and just figure out how to get healthier in general. And so that led more women to sign up. So we had 15,000 women who signed up, and it's a free online program. And the key was that we all went vegan together for 21 days.
Yes. So what challenges do you see when it comes to the Black women who were in your program moving from, a regular everyday diet to now vegan? I mean, that's like when people hear that, I've gone vegan, they're like, how did you do that? So, I want to know what have you found have you found difficulty trying to encourage these women to move to that new type of eating
or even
new lifestyle,
convincing
them that it's
do you have to convince people to do that?
Right.
Yeah. So what we do is it's 3 weeks, and the first week is all mental and kitchen preparation. And so we don't even start eating vegan until the second week. And that mental preparation, the first week, and the kitchen prep is all about asking yourself why you want to do it. We talk about what the obstacles are. Are you trying to lose weight? Do you have a health condition? And if you are trying to lose weight, if you do have a health condition that you're experiencing that you want to deal with, why do you want to do that? Like, do you want to lose weight because you want to be healthier, because you want to be here for your children and grandchildren? Like, what is the why? And that's fundamental, because to me, it's not just about Nutrition 101, learning about where you get your protein, where you get your calcium, all of that. We do all of that. But because the society is so meat and dairy based, people have to have a foundation in why they want to change.
Yes,
it's mental.
yes,
And I think that's so key with what you all talk about with relationships, because it all comes down to why. Once you understand what to do, you work backwards, and you have to ground yourself in why this is good for me.
So we got a couple more minutes in this segment, and I want to just ask you this question before we go to break, and that is, you got the education piece and all of that. That's all there. But I think one of the biggest things that most people have in their mind is vegan food doesn't taste good, or that's just that's the assumption, at least.
Right.
And so what are you doing about that? You talked about getting the sort of, here's where we get our protein from, here's where we get our calcium from, all of that. It's kind of changing that. But I think there's another big piece, at least for me as a black man. That don't taste good. Well, it does taste good because I've had it and I like it. But I'm saying that's not my thought process going in. What do you do about that?
Well, real quick, so we have a 14-day meal plan. So all the recipes I give you are the grocery shopping list. Okay. And I'm a foodie like y'all. I love to eat.
Yes.
So seasonings, spices, sauces, all of it is so important.
That's all important. You just said everything black people like. You know what I'm saying? Seasoning, spices, sauces.
There's no way that you would want to do this if it doesn't taste good.
Right.
That's a given.
Precisely.
Absolutely. And what we season our food with, regardless of whether you eat meat or not, what you are seasoning with is dried herbs. Those are plants, flour, oil. All of those things come from plants. And so a dead bird doesn't taste good by itself.
That's true.
You're right.
So it's the same seasonings.
So what about when it comes to, because I know in our black communities, there are not a lot of good grocery stores.
That's very true.
Where you can find, fresh, organic, produce. Is there anything that you have encouraged or tried to figure out for some women who can't necessarily get to those stores as quickly?
Well, this is another obstacle, after the mental part is what's available in your community. So for sure, if you're living in a community that is experiencing food apartheid and the grocery stores are not there, the community gardens are not there, then what do you do? Yeah. And so what we have found is that Black folks have been having CSAs and community gardens, personal gardens, for hundreds of years. We're pioneers in this, actually. And so the first thing is to find out what's available in your city, because most places nowadays have resources for people to get fresh fruits and vegetables, right? If you're a Black person living in a city, usually it's available, so you can contact your local government to find out what's available to you. And even with seniors, there are often vouchers, so you can get it at a discount. So, find out what's available to help you get fresh fruits and vegetables. Can you grow things on your own, in your yard, on your balcony, on your kitchen counter?
Right.
And then also, there's nothing, fresh is best, but there's nothing wrong with frozen either. Frozen food can be just as nutritious and also very convenient and cheap. True. And so I encourage people to do that and get your greens in that way, especially.
That's good.
Awesome.
Listen, Tracy is amazing.
She is.
This is awesome stuff.
It is. It is.
And this leads us to our word of the
Word
day.
of the day.
The
What's the word of the day,
Word of the
babe?
day is always interesting, but sometimes the word of the day is better than others. In this particular situation, the word
You
of the
like
day
the word
is
of the day?
I
You
like
like
it.
it?
But I feel like people might not be excited about it because of the time of year that we're in.
Yes.
The word of the day is health conscious.
Health conscious. I can never say that word.
Health conscious.
Health conscious.
And it means?
Having an active interest in one's health, concerned about how healthy one's diet and lifestyle are.
Wow.
I think that it is okay to enjoy the holidays, enjoy the eating. And I think it's easier to do that when you are health conscious normally during
Okay.
your life. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? You have a health conscious lifestyle.
You
I
feel
think
like it's
harder.
okay to take a break during the holidays
do.
if you're normally already
Matter
kind
of fact, I think that's good for the soul.
Yeah, I agree.
I do.
Yeah.
But I do believe that when we are, willy-nilly every day, then when the holidays come, it's like you piling on.
You're going even
and then
further.
your health, it's all about the health, man.
Yeah. So this is
You know.
my thing. Reason why I like this
What
word.
the health,
The reason I like this word is because I think it fits in with our overall relationship.
It does.
Clearly, we were talking about today relationship to food, but I think our relationship to each other is important. I think we're getting older, and
Excuse me?
You're
getting older.
We're getting
Okay.
older. And the reality is, we want to be here for each other physically. We want to
Yeah.
actually be around to be able to
Yes.
say, I don't know. I'm glad my husband's still here. I'm glad he's still alive and well. My wife.
No, I think that's very important.
You gotta stay healthy.
You got to
to
stay
do
healthy
that.
to be there for your kids. But, I don't want to have a bunch of pills that I have to take because of my health, my lifestyle,
Yes.
eating wise.
Something I could have controlled.
Right. There are other things that you
Yes.
can't control that you might have to take medication for.
right,
So I'm not
right,
talking
right.
about that, but
Yeah.
things that you can control.
Yeah.
I think, blood pressure, cholesterol, those are things that are diet related. And Tony, Tracy talked about that. I don't know why I said Tony. Tracy
right.
talked about that.
She did.
And so I think that, those are things we can, in a way, control as much as possible.
Yes.
Some things you can't control.
We can
but
impact it. Let's not say we can control it. Let's say we
Impact
can
it.
impact
Yes,
it.
yes,
we
yes,
have
yes,
more
that's true.
impact over that
Yes.
in terms of our health than we realize. And
I
so,
agree.
And I'm saying, the reason I don't want to use the word control is because we can control what we eat. There's no question we can control our diet, but we can't always control what the results will be because
Sometimes it is hereditary.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes the things that we eat aren't necessarily as good as they used to be. In other words, we do deal with things like pesticides
No,
and stuff
they
like that.
aren't as good.
Correct.
Not you can't even say necessarily.
Yes, you're right.
They aren't.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. We can do the best that we can.
Correct. That's the point. That's
Yeah.
all we're trying to get our listeners to do. Do the
Yeah.
best that you can with what you have. And it's okay to enjoy the holidays, but try your best to get back on and be health conscious, not just around this time of year. Be health conscious all the time.
Yeah,
You
I
know
think
what I'm
I
saying?
think that's a good.
I think it's gonna help your
lesson. I think that's
relationship.
good.
That's
It
what
is
I'm saying.
because it
That's what I'm
also
saying.
helps the mind.
Oh, there's no question.
It helps the mind.
Yeah.
You're able to think straight.
Yeah, and that's important. Anyway, y'all, we'll see y'all next week. We're excited to have been here with you. And, of course, April needs to dance it out. But,
Yeah.
We'll check y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.